every day, usually around 9:30 in the morning, right between French and English. I get hungry, but I bear through it because breakfast is only a few hours ago and lunch is right around the corner. Here in America, and in most parts of the world, we're accustomed to eating 3 meals per day. But have you ever wondered where that tradition comes from? The idea of breakfast comes from the Middle Ages, when the monastic Christians refused to eat anything before Mass. Therefore, it literally means to break your fast. Dinner is an invention of the Industrial Revolution, as workers became accustomed to eating only before and after their full workdays. Workers didn't start breaking for lunch until about 100 years ago. Thus, when and what we eat has varied greatly across time and culture. In England, where my family comes from, we actually observe a 4th daily meal which is unique to Great Britain, called afternoon tea. Unfortunately, this tradition is starting to disappear from contemporary lifestyle, which is why I'd like to share with you the practice of afternoon tea, which is when a group of family or friends comes together for tea and biscuits as a formal gathering. This occurs promptly at 4 p.m. Today, I'll begin by sharing the history of afternoon tea, then I'll explain the process of hosting a tea of your own, and finally, I'll describe the mannerisms and etiquette required at the table. According to an article published by the Huffington Post titled Top 10 English Stereotypes, to no one's surprise, tea drinking is listed in spot number 2. Drinking tea can be traced as far back as the 1600s and evolved into afternoon tea in the early 19th century, which Anna, the 7th Duchess of Bedford, lived. At the time period, only breakfast and dinner were eaten, which left people peckish around 4. Although not large enough to be named a meal, she took a light snack and a pot of tea privately to a boudoir at approximately 4 p.m. As years passed, this small meal became more and more common. Its popularity has progressed, and by the 20th century, most households are having afternoon tea on a daily basis. The modern afternoon tea has evolved into less of an everyday commonplace activity and become more similar status for the posh and younger generations. This division between youth and old age, along with the poor and wealthy, has transformed afternoon tea from the informal occasion of the old to the modern formal gathering. Although it can be separated between different types of people, afternoon tea is personal and specific to each person. According to the Huffington Post article, the 5th ranked stereotype says that everyone in England is somehow related to the royal family. And although my grandmother has been to Buckingham Palace for tea, none of us are related to the royal family. Nonetheless, afternoon tea has followed us to wherever we've lived, whether that was Belgium, England, or Wisconsin, America. Started as a tradition from my parents. My dad, who was a Welsh and English upbringing, had afternoon tea with his parents at a young age, as much as he wanted to be somewhere else. My mum, who was a Scottish and English upbringing, had afternoon tea with her grandfather and uncle. Since then, our immediate family has merged the two, which maybe once a month we have a small, informal gathering where we have afternoon tea. The first step in organising a proper afternoon tea is to gather all the materials you'll need to set the table. First, you'll need a dinner plate, which goes directly in the centre of the dinner set. Then, on top of that, is a salad plate, and in the top left-hand corner is the bread plate. Now for utensils, you'll need a dinner fork and a salad fork, which both go to the left. You'll need the dinner knife, the teaspoon and the soup spoon, which will go to the right. The cake fork and dessert spoon both go above the dinner plate. And the bread knife goes on top of the bread plate. The wine glass and the water glass both go in the top right-hand corner. And the cup and saucer both go to the right. Now that you have all the materials needed to set the table, you must provide food for your guests. The 4th stereotype says that everyone in England eats fish and chips. And although this is true, that is not what is served at afternoon tea. Commonly seen foods are cakes, such as Victoria's sponge cake, biscuits and shortbread, French baguettes, sandwiches, much like cucumber and cheese, and scones. Depending on your family and preference, these foods can be of great variety. Similarly, there is no set type of tea required, as there are hundreds on the market currently. Popular types are Earl Grey, Assam, Kenyan, and Ceylon. Once your table is set and friends and family have arrived, Now marks the start to the formal rules of afternoon tea. Begins by a pourer walking round with a pot of tea or water. At this time, you designate whether you wish to have lemon, sugar, and milk. Once your tea has been made, the procedure to drinking your tea begins. You are to hold the teapot with one hand, with 4 fingers at the top and the pinky at the bottom, taking small sips and not gulps. Some things to be aware of are not raising your pinky finger, as this is considered rude, not cradling your cup, and not swirling liquid, as you would wine. When you stir your tea, it must be gentle and noiseless. The teaspoon cannot touch any sides of the cup, making a clinking noise. Upon completion, you place your spoon behind the cup. The direction of the spoon and cup handle should point to 4 o'clock, if you can imagine the saucer as a clock face. In addition to that, there are certain mannerisms and etiquette required at the table. First, there is a dress code of smart casual. This is to be interpreted as feeling casual, yet dressed smartly, medium between business casual and formal attire. The third stereotype says it rains quite a bit in England, so be sure to incorporate an umbrella into your outfit. Examples for items to wear are jackets, blouses, skirts, and dresses for women, and blazers, polos, and loafers for men. This dress code leaves it open for personal interpretation and fashion preferences while staying smart. Second, if you're hosting the event, there must be invitations. They can be delivered face-to-face or in the mail at least 1 week in advance. In your invitation, you must include the time, date, place, dress code, and designate who will be the pourer of the event, which is a great honor. If selected as the pourer, you must guard the tea and pour it for your guests. And third, you must remember basic table manners. Before eating, place your napkin into your lap and keep it there till everyone has finished their meal. Remember to keep elbows off the table and to use a knife and fork for larger and messier foods. When tea is finished, it is customary that you personally say goodbye to everyone, especially thanking your host. A display of proper thanks would first include a verbal acknowledgement, and to also send a small note a few days after, thanking them again. After all, you wouldn't want to be accused of the #1 English stereotype of being rude. Hopefully, as the centuries progress and society continues to evolve, afternoon tea will not become a lost art or forgotten pastime. Perhaps the next time you find yourself peckish after school, you'll consider gathering your friends for a posh affair of tea and scones. Feel free to send me an invite. I would be delighted to pour. Thank you.